Hi, welcome to Wags Cancer Journey. I'm Wags. This is my cancer journey. We are 33 weeks removed from treatment. It is the 24th of January, 2026. I hope everybody had a good Christmas and holiday season out there. We do have news to report. So when I last talked to you, I had gotten a clean bill of health. And since then, I have returned to my employment. I currently drive truck for Quality Liquid Feeds, and they were fantastic, super accommodating through all of this. And without them, I don't know what I'd have done. But when I gave them the phone call and let them know I was ready to return to work, they went over and above and beyond, got my truck back to me. I got moved in, was out on the road in no time flat. Last week of December 27th-ish, I was on the road and been on the road since. But remember when I gave you that clean bill of health, there was one test that they wanted me to do, and that's that NavDx test, which I found out is not FDA approved. It is a test that's kind of cutting edge, on the forefront of technology, where they take your cells apart and really diagnose them and let you know if there's any cancer present whatsoever. I run my first load, Shawano, Wisconsin, and as I'm pulling in, the doctor's calling me from his office and told me, he said, the test come back positive. And I was surprised. I thought this was going to be the final negative test, and I was going to be able to go on, live happily ever after. Well, at that point, then they want to set up another PET scan, which we're getting pretty used to doing by now. They fill you full of radiation and radioactivity, I should say, and then anything that's cancerous, it shows up. Well, we got the PET scan results back this week, and we read them, and it's a little bit of contradictory situation there, and I'm not really sure how to take it all. And what I mean by that is reading this. First of all, I tell you, yeah, it's positive. I definitely have cancer. It's back. It is what it is, folks. But they were talking the base of my tongue and throat. There was still some by this tonsil, according to what I read. But yesterday, we went in and sat down with Dr. Burr and the radiation team at UW Hospitals and tried to get a grasp of just what is going on. And he showed me on the PET scan very little activity up here. He's not concerned about that at all. But there's a mass growing next. My aorta is somewhat covering it on my chest wall by my lung. It's one of the lipnoids. And when that NavDx tests come back, which would have been the 28th of December, Dr. Burr called me himself and told me that he was looking at a mass that was around, according to the cell count, 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter, Well, by the time I went and did this PET scan yesterday, he was talking about a mass that's 3.5 centimeters and growing. So he's referring me to a thoracic specialist surgeon. And what they want to do is it's VAS, video assistant thoracic surgery. They're going to put a slit in my chest and they'll go down with a camera where they can get real precise and do a biopsy on this mass, because they can't just go in all willy-nilly with it being right next to my aorta. What's this mean? Well, this is all part of the throat cancer. This is how the throat cancer likes to escape, and it likes to escape down the capillaries to other lymph nodes that are in your body. You go all the way down from your top of your head to your groin. So are we going to be chasing this around until it consumes me? We don't know. Dr. Burr says that they've been having some success just completely wiping it out and not seeing it come back, which ideally, right, would have been nice if it was done up here, one and done. It's not the case. Looks like we're looking at a minimum of 3 weeks of radiation after surgery, not just a biopsy. Sounds like they'll set up then and do some sort of surgery. I'll be in the hospital for a while. And then we'll do a few weeks of radiation. He never used the word chemotherapy, but he did have these drugs that he's talking about afterwards that sound almost like I've known people that have done chemotherapy pill form, and that's kind of what it sounds like, but that's not what it was. But these pills that make your body fight the cancer, and they've seen some success with that, so we're hoping for that. 3 weeks, I think I was cancer free. At least I've seen like, even if maybe I wasn't 100% cancer free, but nothing that would show up on PET scans or this NavDx test or any of that. So we felt pretty good about that. It's the little wins. He kind of laid out what the treatment possibly could look like. Nothing's written in stone at this point. Everything's very fluid. Understand, this is very early on, but they do know that it's the HPV type cancer. We do believe that it is a same type of cancer that was HPV seroneuma. So that being said, they have a pretty good idea what they're looking at, but without the biopsy, they really are. They want to be sure. So I just Googleized some of this stuff, and you could do it too, but I just thought it would be easier because I know some of the questions that by now you guys put down the comments or reach out to me. Moms out there with their sons and stuff that are going through this. So let me read what some of this is. And of course, no, it doesn't want to cooperate. Let's see. So VATS is a minimal invasive approach using small incisions in a camera and and instruments. And that's what they're talking about doing with this. So then robotic assisted thoracic surgery uses wristed instruments for high precision, which is also what they're talking about doing. They've got to be very precise with this, as you could well imagine, I'm sure, because of the aorta. They got to be real precise to take a biopsy, because they can't be hitting that aorta. That's a no bueno, as you well probably know. So thoracic surgery for chest cancer involves operating on the lungs, esophagus, or chest wall to diagnose this stage or remove tumors. In this case, it's going to be to diagnose, stage, and then remove, not all at the same time. And this is real close to my esophagus as it goes down. It's all part of the throat. Minimal invasive techniques like VATS or robotics for faster recovery. Common procedures include typical requiring 3 to 4 days in a hospital, minimal invasive or longer for open surgeries. And they're talking smaller, 3-4 days, which wouldn't be too bad. It is what it is. So duration, prognosis, how can you, usually people are doing specific surgery details and recovery duration. While specific times vary, complex thoracic surgeries can take several hours after requiring a 3 to 7 day hospital stay, followed by a month or more of full recovery. Dr. Burr thought that was pretty realistic, doing 3 weeks of radiation after the surgery. He didn't think it was going to take too much out of me that I couldn't, function. Everybody's different, and that's the thing that, again, this is all up in the air. But this is very early. I will keep you in touch as things go. Mentally, I guess let's talk physically. Some of the symptoms with this is some chest pain, shortness of breath, and a lot of it is pressure on your lungs. I have the shortness of breath, the cold air, and I don't know if it's from the pneumonia or if it's from overall throat cancer, but that real cold air coming in and going past my throat and stuff really takes my breath away. I really have to the point where I get headaches because I'm breathing so short. I'm not getting enough oxygen. Doctor said stay out of the cold. Well, it's my job. I'm in it. So you kind of have to take some of this with a grain of salt. It's going to get worse before it gets better, I'm sure. But shortness of breath, tightness in your chest. Other than that, I don't sleep much. And I find myself a little more wore out. And I think that's my body fighting this. Like it was with my throat. Real similar. Before I had treatment, my body was fighting this thing. And some days you put in a long, hard day and, you didn't really do much to you. And the next time you had a long, hard day, it just wiped you out. Or even 3/4 of a hard day, and all of a sudden you're like, man, I gotta sit down. And yeah, I've forgotten about that since I had went through what I went through. I had forgotten about that. It sucks. The other thing I want to cover is he thought whatever's going on with the throat too early. These drugs that he's going to give me is going to combat some of that. So hopefully that turns out to be a big nothing burger. But if it could, the mass on the tongue there and throat could get worse. We don't know. It's too early to tell. But his concern is my chest, where the trachea, your trachea goes, esophagus and trachea go down into your lungs. And, the fact that the aorta is right there, the bigger that gets, the more space that takes up. And I know from losing my mom what that did to her. It was fluid, but it was cancerous fluid around her lungs and area that moved her heart out of the way and consumed her. So we're not really sure at this point about the neck. So physically, I'm okay. Mentally, I just feel like I let everybody down. Everybody's been working so hard at UW, and my family and friends support, your thoughts and prayers, which I cannot thank you enough, to get me through this. And I really thought I had it behind me. And it's a real kick that it's back. And it's bigger than ever. And we got to go take care of it. Kind of glad it's not the thought of going through what I went through with my throat cancer again. Man, I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and say I would do it because I don't know if I had that kind of courage. So I pray every night, that the way I look at it is God is not done with me helping others through their cancer journey. So he wants me to film these. He wants me to get them out to the people that are struggling, that need to see that you can get through this. And I guess I'm not done doing that. So I pray it gives me the strength to continue and to help people, and that if this is my end, then I have the courage to do it with a wink and a smile and right to the end, and help as much as I can to whomever I can, whether they have cancer or not. If they get something from this, then maybe what I'm going through may be worth it. But thanks for all your concerns and your thoughts and your prayers, and I'll be in touch when I know more. They tried to get a hold of me yesterday to set up this biopsy, but I missed the call as always. And by the time I called back, it was 5 o'clock, and they were gone for the weekend. So we'll get this set up, and I will get the biopsy, and I'll touch back with you and see where we're at. But I want to thank everybody for coming along, and just don't take it for granted. Your health is just the value in which your death is measured, because we're all going to die. But for Jim, Wag's Cancer Journey, you take care of each other, and I'll see you next time.